Hello the channel, welcome back everyone. Hope you're all well. I hope you're looking forward to Christmas. I hope more importantly you get 10 level ups from Limited in the Neon Christmas box today. That is the real quiz, as David Brent would say. We're looking forward to the weekend. Celtic are back. I know I don't talk about Celtic much, but Celtic are back and there's lots of games coming up this weekend. 26 being Boxing Day. I don't that part of the year you lose track of what actual day it is, don't you? Because you just view it as Christmas. But I think Boxing Day is next Thursday, so that'll be a sort of midweek type arrangement. And we've got lots of games on this weekend, so we're going to have a look through and do a bit of preview of what's on this weekend as we always do. EPL, La Liga is still running. Celtic are back. Did I mention Celtic? Rangers are back as well. But anyway, they never won any cups recently, so don't really care about them if I'm honest. Let's move on to the preview. So, we will talk about Celtic again in terms of the prediction, because we've got the Predictor 5 stuff updated, so we'll come back to that after we've done the general preview. So, first and foremost, the games for this weekend. We still do have things like Challenger running, etc. So I think like your Club Brugge, etc. play until Boxing Day. The Belgian League is on until Boxing Day, so that's all pretty interesting as well. So we've got Benfica against Estoril, 3.07 XG, 62% clean sheet percentage. That was a bit of a bummer at the weekend. Benfica conceding right at the end, wasn't it? Nightmare. I'm going to move myself because I've got just the way this stuff works. I've got stuff in the background that looks as if I've got crazy eyes. There we go, I've moved top quality video production there on McBride's channel. Absolutely useless at stuff. Anyway, at least we're decent at fantasy football, I think. So Benfica, yeah, I will be picking Truman again. I will be heartbroken again looking at the score at the end of the game, no doubt, but looks like a pretty good fixture for them. Obviously there's no MLS or anything on just now, so Challenger possibly a wee bit easier, if that is at all possible, depending on what PSV do against Feyenoord. Tough game. Rangers against Dundee. They say no extra cups for Rangers. Runners up medal though, so a valiant effort. Home game against Dundee, so that's a reverse one. Celtic are playing away at Dundee United, Rangers are playing at home to Dundee. In all honesty, I do think Rangers could win by a good few goals here. I guess it depends how they react to that cup final defeat. It was a great game, so I'll leave all the jesting aside. It was a really good game. And they all nearly had about 4 or 5 heart attacks. Like, my dad had about 10. He was like, every time somebody went up for a penalty, like he had the shakes, and he wasn't even drunk the day before either. So, anyways, Rangers against Dundee. I'm trying to work out how this is going to go as at home. Think there'll be a bit of defiance there. All the chat's been about they should add a penalty and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think that makes sense. 2.8 XG. Dundee have not really been that good this season, so probably the best fixture there. But a lot of Rangers players don't score that well on SO5. Tav does, obviously, but he'll be disappointed after the final. Bayern Munich against Leipzig. Moving on, 2.59 XG, 40% clean sheet percentage. Bayern Munich and Bayern in München in Germany, as Big Alan McInally would say, not very good at keeping clean sheets. Neuer is out, I think, at the moment. I think as I remember, I don't own him, so don't take that verbatim, but I'm sure Perez was playing, so a real interesting one. Leipzig, obviously a very capable team, but been really poor this season, poor in the Champions League. Walked 3-1 by the mighty Glasgow Celtic as well, and struggling in general. Leeds don't really have much by way of in-season, but obviously fixtures there for classic players, if there's any left at this stage. Galatasaray against Kayserispor. We're not getting into all the chat on Twitter and everything, we're just doing a preview and doing lineups. Surveys and, updates for January or whatever, we'll talk about that in January. It's Christmas. Celtic against Dundee United, so Celtic are still right up there even with being an away game. 2.5 XG, 50% clean sheet percentage. That makes a lot of sense. Kasper Schmeichel has been really good this season. So, yeah, I can see why Celtic are up there. Defence has been scoring really well too, which is interesting. Conceded a few goals against Rangers, but it was a real tough cup tie. So well done, the United caused Celtic problems as possible. Trust they come off at half time. We'll come back talking about the Celtic team in a wee minute. Inter Milan, again, no in-season cards, but if you've got a Sommer whacking around or whatever, it'll be a pretty handy card, I'd imagine. 53% clean sheet percentage. Real Madrid against Sevilla, 2.3 XG, 47% clean sheet percentage. Interesting one. Real Madrid are playing tonight against Pashusha, I think, as you call them. It's easy for me to say because I'm not been on the Guinness or the beer. Looks pretty full strength. Vinicius there, Rodrigo back, Mbappe, all that type of stuff. So when you see how they come out of that. Got Sporting, 2.3 XG. I'm probably going to mix in a bit of Benfica and Sporting. Just maybe hope Benfica are a bit tighter for once in their life. Well, maybe it'll happen at some point. Tribune will just hit an 80 or whatever and I'll be laughing. But yeah, Sporting have been really poor since Angerim's left. It's been a bit of an issue. They do seem to still be scoring some goals though. Liverpool against Tottenham, so 24% clean sheet percentage for Liverpool. Pretty interesting, I guess. Tottenham scored 4 against Man City, so that makes a lot of sense as well. Very interesting one. I would say that Tottenham are quite hit or miss, so could really be one where Liverpool shut them out. You don't know. Could go either way. I think Ange is under a slight bit of pressure there as well. Atalanta against Empoli. Atalanta, a real good team. Don't really have any cards myself. Wish I actually did. Fulham against Southampton, who are just pretty poor. Lost their manager. You kind of sometimes get that new manager bounce or whatever, caretaker bounce. So keep an eye on that. But pretty decent fixture for Fulham. I don't really hold any Fulham cards, sadly. But there we go. I see a few people looking at like Bernd Leno, etc. Leverkusen against Freiburg. Leverkusen are in really good form. Hit a real consistent run of form and are working their way up towards the top of the league. So 2.19 XG. Hradecki kept a clean sheet the last time. Upamecano was left out. The rest of the guys are rubbish. And I've lost my Bundesliga D1 entry. So there we go. The irony of all ironies. Hradecki couldn't keep a clean sheet to save his life and finally keeps one. We get relegated. That's what it is. Nothing much else standing out there. Fenerbahce, so Livakovic's injured, so I'll be probably running a Aguirre Bat or whatever you call him. I can't assume know how you say his name right. I do have an end season one as well, so that's pretty interesting. Because I won it and I've got patience with stuff like that. I know everybody was sort of laughing a bit or sort of mentioning the optimal time to pull in the crafting and everything, but I've always sort of a rare tried to wait until the 500. We'll see on that. Obviously, I went at tier 3 the last time and got the Bayern München bloody the total troll. The German midfielders. You could have Kimmich, you could have Musiala, Leon Goretzka. But anyway, it's all good. I'll revisit that. PSV. I think this will be the last season of PSV dominance. That's a bold prediction to make, but from an SO5 perspective, Boskagli's out of contract, he'll be off. I think he was wanting to go to Brighton when the bid was made before. Veerman was kind of almost out telling him that he should be staying and everything. I think he'll just walk at the end of the season. Obviously bring in really good players like Ryan Flamingo and everything, and they can score really well, but Boskagli will be a huge loss for PSV. There's no two ways about it. He's an SO5 machine. He's a cracking player. They could replace him with someone who comes in and does equally as well, but that'll be hard because he's a high level player. So, we'll see. But I think this might be, right below him on the list, Dynamo Zagreb. Remember when Zagreb come on, everybody was mentioning Zagreb had a lot of good SO5 players, and now don't really have any good SO5 players at the moment. Camped in their own box against Celtic, although they had a lot of injuries and things. So, guess that's understandable. So EPL preview, Liverpool still got a pretty good fixture, just that will it be easy to stack? That's going to be the difficult one. With Alisson back, he can definitely do some AA, so that's an interesting one. You could probably still run like Alisson, Virgil and Salah and still put in pretty good scores. Trent's been disappointing this season, I must admit. Fulham we mentioned earlier. Chelsea have been really good this season. Let's get the chance out. Chelsea. Chelsea. Real imaginative songs there. But Newcastle against Ipswich. Well, I mean, Newcastle holders were feasting the last game week. Ipswich have done pretty well, and what I would say about this one is that if I could talk right, 35% clean sheet percentage makes sense because Ipswich have been pretty dangerous in terms of actually scoring goals. So, Newcastle could turn up and do really well again, and everybody will be buying Newcastle stacks, but that's what it is. Arsenal 43% clean sheet percentage stands out there, albeit they've been struggling to score goals. They do have a pretty good defence. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of injuries and everything back there, but with Gabriel back last game, putting in a really good score, I think they'll hopefully return to being a bit more solid. Crystal Palace gets buoyed by that win over Brighton. Manchester City, who knows what Manchester City will turn up. Brighton against West Ham again. Brighton, a wee bit hit or miss again at the moment. I guess that's makes sense because you would expect them to be a bit lower than the likes of Liverpool, etc. in the league anyway. Real Madrid, good fixture. Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, really interesting one. Barcelona have hit a rough patch as well, so I think Yamal is also injured again, so he'll not miss that much SO5 wise because they take a break over Christmas. But yeah, that's going to be a bit of a blow for them. Rafinha's been amazing. If he were to be out at any point, I think they would be proper struggling. I've got a lot of good footballers, but I mean, mostly from an SO5 perspective, but they have been dropping points. Girona, obviously reasonable fixture there. Real Madrid, Sevilla does still look like the best fixture, but again, Real Madrid have to turn up. And Getafe, if anybody's got anyone from Sorare, I think, isn't it? Challenger, Benfica we mentioned earlier, Galatasaray, pretty good fixture. Fenerbahce there too. Ajax against Sparta, I mean, that's a Rotterdam derby, isn't it? From my own previous rubbish knowledge, I think it is. But Sparta have been pretty poor. I'm glad I actually sold Nick College, etc. I loved holding them, but I could kind of, in a way, see that coming. That makes sense. It looked as if they were struggling. Kind of miss Brian's at the back, etc. Besiktas up there, but they've been pretty poor this season. So nothing else really to point out from that point of view. Contender, spend a wee bit more time on it tonight because it's a pretty important weekend coming up in terms of UK football, etc. So Rangers Celtic we mentioned earlier. Hamburger against Gruffaforth, pretty interesting one. Obviously HSV got some licence cards and everything. Dynamo Zagreb, if they do return to form, but it's been so poor, it's quite a difficult one to see if they're going to come back to anything really. Hajduk Split, interesting one. 58% clean sheet percentage there as well. Hearts against St Johnstone. Hearts have been so hit or miss this season as well. They do play against Petro Cub during the week just now as well, so they've got a lot of fixtures. Pretty interesting. Aberdeen are way down there, but Aberdeen I guess could return to form against Hibs, who've been pretty poor themselves. Sassuolo in there as well. I'm glad to see Berardi still playing. Anything we're not covered. Bundesliga. Bayern Munich again 2.59 XG, 40% clean sheet percentage. Leverkusen leading the clean sheet percentages. Stuttgart actually a pretty good team, as we've known before. Frankfurt have sort of missed your man a bit as well. The Egyptian king who's not actually Mo Salah, Marmoush, isn't it? Hoffenheim against München Gladbach. Do have a Kramaric now as well, so it's pretty interesting. I think Wolfsburg have been a bit poor, so Dortmund probably a better fixture on paper than actually shows there. So Predictor Fi, let's have a look at the Celtic predicted lineup. Now I haven't actually updated this anymore. Robin Van Persie has said, has Engels lose his spot? Thanks for your work. No problem at all. I think he will be rotated a wee bit, and you'll see the answer up there. But it's one of those, there's a lot of games, so he done really well in the cup. Come on, got a really good assist as well. Right, I've moved myself to get the optimal spot on the screen so you can see my big Santa Claus beard that I'm growing here. Kasper Schmeichel, what can you say about him? Penalty save in the cup. Guy's been so good as a signing. Probably one of my best ever Sorare buys, to be honest. Particularly super rare level as well. It was quite a lot of money to spend, but there we go. Greg Taylor, 75%. Yeah, poor against Rangers. He did score the goal to get us back to one each, so bit of redemption and everything there. But, I think Celtic fans' point of view is a bit of sort of Regency bias there as well. Yeah, he scored the goal and he got us back in there. That's great. I get that, but he was properly targeted all game, and he was at fault for the first goal. Should have really been 2-0. Rangers had a 4-1 against Carter Vickers, which was caused by Taylor and McGregor losing the ball in midfield as well. So Rangers worked on that a lot. So I think they've got to look out for that. Celtic will be on a high after winning the cup. I think there'll be a lot of adrenaline and everything, and that momentum still going after a good start to the season, but you just need to be careful as well. Trusty and Scales is an interesting one. I'm going to look out for news on that, and equally look out for news. I know that if you don't subscribe to Predictor5, you might not get an update on this video. If you don't, it's well worth the $2.49 or whatever it is a month for contender access. Not that expensive for full access. Use code McBrideace as well. But you will get all this information updated. I always put an update on before the deadline. Now on Friday, I think I'm going out for a bit of Christmas lunch, so if there's late news, then that might be a bit of a challenge, but we'll try and work around that as best as possible. Game is on Sunday, so there might not be any news because the presser might not be out, or be training on Saturday as well, so it might be one of those just have to go with the estimation. Carter Vickers was excellent in the final. As I said, Scales come on for Trusty at half time, seemed to be more tactical. Need to be a wee bit careful with tired legs and everything. Obviously there was extra time and there was penalties and everything, so we were all a bit knackered watching it, to be honest, so I don't know how our players felt, but hopefully that feeling of winning carry them forward. John still got in 95%. It's an interesting one. He did come off, he didn't last the whole game, so obviously he'd got the knock against Dynamo. I might change that. Obviously he was back in for the final, and Celtic wouldn't have put him back in for the final unless he was okay. But he was taken off and Ralston come on in the final, so that might do him a favour. It was a full week to recover. It didn't look like he was down at the darts with Carter Vickers holding up the 119, but you know what I mean. Cal McGregor there. Rio Hatate again, started in the cup final. I would expect him to start in most games, but I think there'll be a bit of a pattern developing again, and it will be that Celtic will be winning cups and leagues, and that McCowan will play some home stuff. McCowan couldn't play in the cup, so that's the relevance of that. He was cup tied, so Hatate played, so you could see McCowan coming back in. There's no doubt about that. It'll depend on freshness and fixture management. And again, this game's 22nd. There's another game on the 26th. There's another game on the 30th. There's another game on the 2nd of January. There's another game on the 5th of January. There's a lot of fixtures coming up. I will do my best to guide everybody through this and give you the best information based on what I think and who the best SO5 guys are to try and pick. Paulo Bernardo started the final again, so could easily start. Engels come on, got an assist, so again, you could see Engels start as well. Whoever doesn't start usually gets on, a real tough one, but I think it's a kind of a void at the moment, just based on what's happened. I'm erring towards Bernardo at the moment because that's been successful the last couple of games, really. Maeda, what a goal he scored in the final, honestly. The guy's a madman. He scored the winning penalty as well. Furuhashi, again, you could see Ida here. Ida started more away games, came on in the final, scored his penalty and everything, so nothing really to be concerned about there. Just kind of going with what the most recent starting lineup has mostly been in the bigger games. Nicholas Kuhn, again, there, 90%. I'd expect his minutes to be managed a bit over this spell as well, not necessarily maybe this game. So I think that from what I can sort of deduce from what Rodgers has been doing, like Aberdeen away, etc., he's been going quite strong away and he's been taking more liberties at home where we control the ball more, and maybe using that as a tactical chance to bring in maybe Scales, feels as if he's reasonable on the ball, playing out, and puts in some really good SO5 scores at home, so that shows that maybe that does suit him in terms of dominance. So there we go, that is the projected Celtic lineup from me. So what have we got on this weekend? Let's have a look. We do have the special, which is the Beat the Target. Again, there's been a lot of chatter about that. I don't mind credits. I mean, obviously, I'm like properly biased on that because I've got a ton of them. So, you know, I've got $144 and £44, sorry, kicking about. Every time you get the same percentage, it restarts the sort of the timer on that. So I want to kind of save some of them up for like the MLS coming back or the early access, etc. I don't really feel as if I need much at the moment. So All Stars running is good to see that running, and the hit the target one I've got here as well. So limited land, you can get up to $50 of credit, which is quite good. You know, I mean, I'd be quite tempted just to whack it in. It's a 250 cap, so it's quite hard to get to 400, but $50 is really good. Now I know you've got to spend $100. I do get that, but you know, it is what it is. Like, you can't just give out cash and everything. And you know, as the season goes on, you know, they need to still encourage card sales and things. I'm not defending Sorare, but I just think like this still is quite a good tournament, if that makes sense. And it's different targets now for rare and super rare, so be careful on that. But I mean, yeah, I guess you could go for the lower amount. But targets wise, thinking limited, I'll probably be putting in a team and going for the 400. So we'll maybe look back at that in terms of cap and see if we can pick out anybody. In fact, we will do that. Let's do that. I always focus on stuff like under 21s and everything. English Premier League, we got relegated, which was a shame from D1. La Liga, I'm kicking about in D2. Champion do have some D1 entries, etc. there as well. So let's have a look at Igal's wonderful spreadsheet and see if we can get in amongst some guys who would be good for the caps. So I'll focus this on my own players first and foremost. We may have a quick look and see if there's anybody who's really properly suitable, but it's a cap to 50, so we'll put the cap down to a last 15 average score max of 50. Now, first thing I'd point out is I mentioned him earlier. If you've been paying attention, well done. There he is. Igiribat or Egribayat, whatever you call him now, says he's got an unknown injury, but he's at 80%. Now, that's probably an old injury. It's just carrying from, because he doesn't really play very much. So I'm pretty certain that he'll play for Livakovic unless there's any other news that he's injured himself. He is a zero cap player, which is really, really good. So an excellent one to use if you've got. I don't think I've got a limited of them, but I do have a rare which I kept hold of, which is brilliant. Who else have we got here under the 50 cap who could be quite good? Scott Bain would be good if he actually played any football, but he doesn't. So Ruben Yanez, interesting, 49% clean sheet percentage. So I've definitely got a limited of him kicking about. Kavlain is a shame, just never plays. Barkas, 41% clean sheet percentage at home. Anyone else sticking out? I don't think so, goalkeeper wise. Defender wise, Jan Nicholas, simply the bestie as I call him. He did play the last game, played pretty well I think, but as far as I know, Carreras is back after suspension, so definitely need to check that one myself. Apostolos Constantopoulos, that's easy for me to say, so that's an interesting one. Projected 80 at home, but with a 29% clean sheet percentage. Interesting. Not a guy I've used that much. Hugo Bueno, projected 68. That'll be a tough one. I mean, Feyenoord playing against PSV. Ishii Konza is an interesting one. So you asked him Villa at home, but again, tough game, but form's been pretty poor. Nat Phillips. Aye, very good. I'll tell the jokes. Alejandro Francis. You obviously would need to be checking that you think he's going to play, but he's done pretty well for Girona, I think. Ajax rotated a lot the last game, so I think they'll be back to pretty much their full team again. A lot of European stuff and everything up, so nothing hugely standing out there from those ones. If I knew Jan Nicholas Bestie was going to play, then I'd be quite tempted. Ferdi Kadioglu maybe back. Matt O'Reilly again was out, maybe back. James Forrest, I'm not sure will start. It's going to be quite a tough cap to 50 actually. So I guess like your strategy if you can get somebody like Egribat or whatever you call him. So if he's a zero, then that means you've got a 250 cap over 4 players, which gives you an average of 62.5 per player, rather than a 50 average. So if you can get a goalkeeper or whatever who's got a 0 cap, it'll become quite valuable for that, if market credits obviously is your thing. Forwards wise, again, nobody really standing out that high. Jeremy Sarmiento's quite an interesting one, a talented young player, so maybe somebody worth picking up there. Estimated 66. So I mean, if you do toggle with it and make this 63, then you'll see that there'll be some other options which become available, which make things a lot easier. So obviously, if we're running Giribat, then you're bringing in guys like Otamendi, excellent player, obviously Alvaro Carreras, who I think should be back. Gavardio, who's been pretty poor. Saliba. Midfield wise, Luke McCown, if you want to take a chance on him. I'm not sure for this weekend. Carlos Baleba, who's been excellent. Callum McGregor, Michael Elise, Damsgaard. So you definitely leave yourself more options. That's what I like about the overall cap rather than just specialists. You can move about with the cap, and you can build some cap in elsewhere by using a guy who's favourable for the cap. So there we go. Nobody else really standing out, I guess, there, forward wise. João Pedro always threatening to do pretty good for Brighton. Nicholas Kuhn, who's been excellent obviously for Celtic. Osimhen was injured recently. Brian Mbeumo, guys like that are pretty handy actually all over Christmas. So it's quite early to be building lineups, but what I'll do is I'll kind of mock up one for the hit the target and rare. As I said, if you can find somebody like the big man I'm going to pick here, then it would be proper helpful. We'll have a look, maybe see if we can find anybody else. But I don't know about anybody else, but my filters are just not really working at the moment. There's a surprise. Fenerbahce. Yeah. He's got a funny G in his name as well. We need to be careful. That's because of you've got to put the G with the thing above it. Anyway, let's talk about that. Stop talking about that. So average per position now then is 62. So my mental maths were pretty close. Schlotterbeck's back already. That's crazy. I definitely wouldn't put you off picking like an Austin Trusty, but yeah, I mean it's going to be a tough one with Scales. Maybe one to avoid at the moment. I don't know. Upamecano, pretty interesting one. Guess Liverpool's quite tough away at Spurs. Thomas Rojo, definitely be a good one to put in. I mean, probably be used under 23s, but he just signed new contract, so I don't think his position's really in any real doubt there. In terms of midfield, so Mikkel Damsgaard threw up there, so that's quite interesting. You see the flexibility you get when you put in a 0 ranked goalkeeper, right? Because then you're looking at average 62 per position, and you can maybe get the odd one in at 65, 66, and obviously you're not going to almost necessarily be running a Bellingham to get credits, but you've got Musiala and things popping up here, guys who are pretty good at S5 like Griffo. Lennon Miller would definitely be a good shout. I mean, on sets, Kilmarnock have been woeful. Motherwell at home, that would be a reasonable shout in terms of putting a team in. This might not be my final team, just trying to give people some suggestions and make the video kind of relevant. Di Maria, again, hits a lot of high scores. Dusan Tadic, pretty cheap these days. Try and get the forward card if possible. Nicholas Kuhn, so I've still got an average of 62 per position to use. It's good to really kind of put it down a bit and then use one smasher. If you have any of these guys, these are all definitely good suggestions, like Tadic. And then still got a 62 to use. That's what this button's for, which I've now worked out. So if you press that, it'll filter out the guys who are unaffordable. So that was nice of Sorare to tell us about that. But we've worked it out now, so let's forget about it. Angel Di Maria definitely could be a good shout. I mean, Benfica XG at home was pretty good. It's nearly 3, so you could definitely run a Di Maria in there as well. So look at the difference. I mean, obviously, rather than running guys who are averaging 50, because you've got a 0 goalkeeper, you're able to run a really nice team like that, and you could captain a Di Maria for the next year, or you go for Thomas Araujo based on just, AA and capable of just putting in pretty good scores, etc. there as well. Let's go back to the sheet and see if we can do something else helpful, right? So it's Christmas and all that, so let's see on the player database if we can pick out anybody who has like quite a low cap but a high expected score and expected also to start. So last 15 average score max 50. Let's move that down to 25. I guess we could try just for 0 as well, but yeah, what you see, who's got a low last 15. Apart from Bruggen, is that low? No. There's one down there, it's like, you sure? So, pick the bones out of this. A few guys here with cruciate ligament. This is what happens, right? You get into this, like, people with cruciate ligament injuries and patellar tendons and back injuries and all that sort of stuff. I could put the start percentage up. There's quite a lot of predictions still to come in for the gal sheet, so I don't know how foolproof that'll be at the moment. So I just want to kind of glance through and see if there's anybody that's overly sort of sticking out here. So last 15, these are all actually last 15's a 0. Ito's an interesting one, they're not playing that much. Luke Thomas, I guess, still not really that sure he's going to play. I'm not sure how successful this is going to be because it's going to be difficult. Shane Blaney there, but again, only a project score of 45. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter this to goalkeepers because they're kind of, there's a lot of backups and everything playing recently. So position goalkeeper. Igribat is definitely one I would recommend. So who's going to start? It's tough, isn't it? I mean, you guys will probably know them if you're familiar with Ethan Horvath. He's been a bit in and out. I'm not really sure where he's going to actually start or not. So yeah, it's pretty tough to pick out. Yeah, sorry, that's not been much help. If you've got to this point in the video, please don't unsubscribe from the channel. I'm trying to help, but you see how hard it is to kind of pick out some of these guys. Like, honestly, if you do have an Egribat or whatever you call him, I'm sorry I'm butchering his name if any Fenerbahce fans are watching, but Egribat, whatever. He's got a 0 last 15 cap, plays for Fenerbahce, and that should be a reasonable shout, particularly with that fixture. So anyways, I don't think there's anything else to discuss. We've covered obviously a broad range of fixtures, we've covered the beat the target. I'd be tempted in limited just to go for it. I mean, if $10 credit means a lot to you, then maybe not. Yeah, just go for the 350. But from my own point of view, I like to have a bit of a higher target in limited. I may well also go for the higher target in rare as well, by the way, if I can get a 0 last 15 goalkeeper in. I think all my super rare goalkeepers are all averaging under about 20 at the moment, so I don't think I'll have any real issue in having somebody with a decent cap going in there, if I'm perfectly honest. But yeah, we'll make a decision based on that as well. Anyways, this is going to be the last video before Christmas because I've got some stuff on Friday and some of it involves alcohol, which means that I won't be sober enough to actually talk or give you a video. So I wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I hope everyone's happy, healthy, even if you are getting a bit wound up about Sorare. Who cares? It's a game, enjoy it with your family and stuff. Don't let it affect your Christmas, etc. as well. And then, I will try and get a video in for the midweek because Christmas is on Wednesday and we've got a lot of Boxing Day games, including Celtic at home to Motherwell. So I'll try and get that video out probably around about 22nd, I think, 23rd. Got some stuff on as well. Obviously a lot on at the moment with Christmas and the family. Thanks very much again for watching. If you've got to the 34th minute and you're just hanging about listening to me to say good luck and go fuck, then you've done very well. Please like and subscribe if you've not done so already. We'll try and get more giveaways and everything done in due course. Good luck and go fuck. Thanks for watching.